Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I woke up to an ice storm. It was freezing rain last night and it's coated the front door with a layer of ice. All the cars are covered with an armor plating. Just a sheet of ice that I'll have to scrape off. Yeah, it's really tough and it's pretty tough stuff to get off. You have to let the car warm up a bit and then get out the ice scraper and just go at it. Let's go see what the trees are looking like. Here we are in the bonsai area. It's still raining, it's freezing rain, so it kind of comes down as rain and then when it hits the surface of something it freezes. So yeah, let's go have a look at the trees. Here's my red pine and you can see the top of it. It's just, it doesn't bend. There's no flexing in that. It's just frozen with a coat of ice. But it looks really nice. There's the base of it down here. There's my little spruce, kind of glistening in the light. The thuyas are just coated with ice. The white pine up here, you can see it's just all stiff with ice. I can't stay out here too long because the camera will get wet. There's the Avatar Grove. You can see the icicles hanging off the branches there. Yeah, just coated with ice. This tree looks really good, the Austrian Pine. Check this out. It's just all covered with a layer of ice there. Yeah, wow, that looks really nice. A nice frosting of snow at the base down there. Another thuya clump there. And you can see all the deciduous trees, the American elms are coated with ice. My Arctic explorers look right at home. Let's go have a look at the Larch Forests. Look at that, it still has its fall colors. So they're in full kind of straw colors. They've gone, you know, a yellowish brown color now. They've lost all their hint of oranges and greens and all that. So yeah, they'll be, the next stages, the needles will fall off. And you can see on this tree at the back here, they're already starting to all fall off. You can see them down on the forest floor down here. But it looks really nice. I've said before, you know, larches, they're amazing trees. They're just so beautiful. Even if you just grow them for fall colors, they just look wonderful. And there's my single larch here. It's in about the same stage. It's just kind of ready to shed its needles. Yeah, so it's December the 1st today. So, and I've still got some fall colors December 1st. That's kind of amazing. There's my yew tree on the ground down here. I still haven't mulched around it. I've got to do that. But you can see the top of it's still green up here. So I'm hoping if it survives the winter, I think there's promise for it. Maybe not all the branches will survive, but if one survives, I'll be quite happy. There's the old apple tree coated in ice. Yeah, quite a sight out here. Let's go see what the elephants are doing. I imagine they're iced in there pretty good. Look at that. They're coated in ice. Wow, look at the ice in the cedars here. It's just amazing. Looks like something out of a strange fairy tale. All these ice dripping off the trees. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a sight you don't see very often. Now the weight of this ice, it is possible it could break some branches. But, you know, in nature that happens too. You get ice storms and that, it breaks the weaker branches off and So hopefully it won't happen, but if it does, you know, that's just part of growing bonsai outdoors. You know, can't pamper your trees too much. Here's the little spruce, all covered in ice here. You can see the buds under the ice layer. Yeah, looks quite something. Quite a sight out here. Even my wind chimes don't chime because they're coated in ice. Inside the greenhouse, the plastic is, you can knock on it. It's just rigid. I can break it away if I want, but yeah. And it is definitely warmer in the greenhouse here. Here, we'll break this panel here. Like that. Wish it came off my car windows that easily. Anyway, so that's today, December 1st. Everything's iced up. My poor cedar here, I had it on the bench over there and it slid off. It was on the ground. So I had to pick it up and get it back in the pot. The roots looked okay, everything looked okay. It was just, poor thing, slid off the bench. We had really high winds last night. It was just like unbelievable high winds. I was actually really worried that my Austrian pine up here might actually blow right off the bench, but it didn't. It survived quite nicely. And the wind's calmed down now, so all is well. Yeah, a bit of an ice storm today. Well, let's go inside now and start today's work here in the bonsai zone. I'm back in the plant room now, and today's video will be all about updates. About 2 months ago, William from Singapore opened up a pomelo fruit, and inside were nice plump seeds, and he was nice enough to send me some in the mail. So it took a long time for the seeds to get to me. It took about, I think almost a month. And when the seeds got here, they were kind of shriveled up, and I wasn't sure if they were going to germinate or not. So I soaked the seeds for 2 days, for 48 hours in water and rainwater. And then I planted them in bonsai soil and kept them in the plant room where it was kind of sunny and warm. There was no signs of activity in the pot where I planted the seeds for several weeks afterwards. And even a month afterwards, there was still no sign of activity. And I'd kind of given up on the seeds. I thought, well, I guess they dried out too much and they're just not viable seeds. So I was going to take them out of the plant room and, you know, put another pot in its place. And I thought, well, these seeds came all the way from Singapore. I'll give them a few more weeks. And I'm glad I did, because now, for the first time, they're germinating. Here's a shot of the new seedlings. You can see the tallest one. This was the first one to germinate. It's, you know, up to the knuckle on my first finger. Doing really well. There's another one germinating here, just coming up. And there's another one sprouting here. So I've got 3 seedlings now. And, oh, it looks like there's another one maybe coming up in here. Yeah. So at least 4 now germinating. So that's kind of exciting. It'll be a long road ahead turning these little seedlings into bonsai trees. It may take, 20, 30 years before they look like something decent, but it'll be a fun journey. I have a lemon tree that I grew from a seed also, and I'd let it grow all summer, and then in fall I pruned it back. So let's have a look and see how it's doing. Here's a look at the lemon tree today. You can see there's a lot of new growth coming out from the top and from all the cut points. I'll rotate it around first. So this was kind of the new front, somewhere kind of in this direction. Not sure exactly where, but now we'll rotate it around and you can see all the new shoots emerging. So the pruning back operation was very successful. I was happy with the results. There is one shoot, this one right here, that comes in towards the other trunk, and that needs to be removed. So I'm going to take that off, and I'll come around here and try and get in here So that's a brand new shoot. You just emerged from that trunk. So here I go. Gone, just like that. You can see from the big trunk that I cut, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new shoots emerging. And some of them, like that one, is a really nice shoot. If this is the front of the tree, this will be probably the new leader. And I may, reduce the other parts of the tree back, or I could grow this one as the new leader, or even that one if I wanted the direction to kind of change. But probably either that small one or the one out front will be the new leader. And this one may have to be removed because it's kind of growing in towards the other branch. So if you look down here, on the trunk here, there's a little shoot that's coming out of very old wood here. So this tree is probably 30 years old from a seed. I didn't have it for the first maybe 12 years of its life, but I inherited it from my mom after that. So yeah, so this new little green bud coming out here is coming off very old wood. And yeah, so it's amazing when you do, you grow your tree really vigorously, and then you prune it back hard, you can get all these nice little buds popping out all over the trunk on old wood. And it gives you the, the choice of picking new branches to further develop and refine the shape of the tree. The next tree we'll be looking at today is my Sarissa foetida. Let's have a look at the progress on it. Here's a look at the Sarissa now, and you can see the leaves are growing in really large and lush. The whole canopy's filling out really nicely. And it's got flowers all over the top. I'll come in with a handheld shot to show you all the details. All right, we'll fly in and have a look at the tree now. So we'll start up at the top here. It's all in flower. Looks really nice. There's white flowers over the whole canopy. Yeah, that's really nice. Go underneath. Look up at the tree structure. So it's filling out really nicely. It's kind of looking a little more comfortable in the pot. I think, in the year or two of growing, it'll look the right size for this pot. The leaves are really large on it, if you look at them, for a Sarissa. They're growing in nice and lush and green. So the reason the leaves are so big is that it's growing indoors, so it gets less light than out, getting sunlight. I'm feeding it quite heavily. I add a little bit of fertilizer to my water, and, this takes watering pretty well every day. It uses a lot of water, this tree. So it's growing in really lush. Probably too lush, but, keeping a tree healthy in the winter is what's important, not the size of the leaves at the moment, because, it'll all change when it goes outside in summer. So I'm really happy. I'm happy with the progress on the Sarissa foetida, styled to look like an African acacia tree. Yeah, it's getting really nice bark on it. Everything's developing really well. The next plant we'll look at today is my aloe bonsai. This started off as a little aloe shoot, a little aloe pup that I bought from the Hamilton Botanical Gardens. And now it's starting to turn into something fantastic, and I'm really happy with the progress. So let's get out the aloe bonsai and have a look at it. Here's a look at the aloe bonsai. I'll rotate it around a bit so you can kind of get an idea of what it's looking like. There's the side view, the back view. You can see all the aerial roots coming down. And back to what may or may not be the front, I don't know. It'll probably change in the future depending on how it grows. But I'm really happy. I repotted it in the last video into this larger kind of sand-colored pot. And yeah, it took a little while before it started growing again, but now it's taking off like normal. Lots of new leaves on the growing tips and lots of new pups emerging everywhere. And it's becoming a really nice clump-style aloe tree. Here's a close-up of the base of the tree. You can see all the aerial roots coming down the trunks. all the multiple trunks. And initially I wasn't going to plant this as a clump style bonsai. It was going to be a single tall tree with kind of a canopy on top of the tree. And because it was generating so many pops at the base and getting so many different trunks and branches, that I thought, it really lends itself well to a clump style. And I'm glad I did, because it's getting to be quite a fancy looking base to this aloe. And I think it'll just keep improving in the future. So I'm really excited to see what this aloe will look like in the far future. The next update is my dwarf Schefflera bonsai. It's in this 3D printed bonsai pot and stand. And in the last video, I defoliated the tree and I pruned it back, getting all the branches in shape. And now it's, sprouting out all its new shoots and doing really well. So there's new leaves coming out all over the tree. So it'll look really good in, probably another month. The canopy will all be filled out and it'll be growing really strongly again. I'm really happy with the 3D printed pots. They seem to be standing up really, really well. It's so nice to be able to design the exact pot you want, the exact style you want, paint it whatever color you want. And so I'm really excited about getting more 3D pots designed and made. So that'll be coming up. I'll be designing more pots this winter, and I'll try and get a 3D printer and we'll start making them. The next update is my holiday cactus. It's growing really well, thickening up at the base really nicely. It's growing tall again and will need more pruning. So there'll be a video coming up on that. So there's just a view of it. It's looking quite nice. I don't know. There may be some flower buds developing on it. I'm not sure if it's new growth or flower buds, but I'm not going to prune it until, maybe another month from now, just to see if it does flower. It'd be nice to, see it in flower with all the branches kind of cascading. So that'll be coming up. The next update is my crown of thorns bonsai. And I pruned it back quite hard in the last video. It was kind of shocking because it had this really nice canopy on it. And, it was all in flower in the summer. And then I pruned it back very hard, reducing the branches down to little stubs. And it was kind of horrifying to see it go from, almost a tree form back down to a stick. But now it's starting to bud out again from all these, around these cut points. And it's starting to develop really nicely. So I'm happy with the results from the pruning. I'll give you a close-up of it. So there's kind of the crown, my crown of thorns. And you can see, here there's 1, 2, 3, at least 3 new buds coming out from that pruning point. And same with out the back here, there's buds coming from all the branches. And I found this last time I cut it back that at first only a few branches showed signs of new growth, but then it just seemed to accelerate, and every branch I pruned just seemed to explode in new growth. And before I knew it, the tree was just, this full dense canopy once again. So yeah, I'm really excited. This is kind of in the same category as my aloe bonsai and my Christmas cactus bonsai. They're all, kind of strange and unusual plants to grow as bonsai, but this one I think will be very successful. I'm really enjoying, the challenge of creating a nice crown of thorns bonsai. The next tree we're looking at is my willow leaf ficus. I repotted this, I think it was sort of towards the end of summer, and gave it quite a hard pruning up top and a very hard root pruning. It's planted in a 3D printed pot that's kind of designed to look like a marble pot. So that's why it's that whitish color. And I'm hoping over time that the plastic that it's made of will take on a patina and maybe look like a natural marble pot in the future. So you can see the tree is doing really well. It's got a lot of new growth on it. It's very dense and healthy looking. So I'm pleased with the results so far anyway. There's a look at the root base. You can see there's a lot of quite nasty scars on it. And yeah, it'll take a long time to get that root base all sorted out. It's a little spider crawling up the trunk there. Yeah, it was quite a mess, this root base. So my hope is, see how thick and bulbous this root base is on this side, is to maybe someday, you know, get it more like this, where I've got fine roots coming off the trunk instead of, you know, this big, thick, large section off to the one side. So possibly, I don't really want to air layer it, because then you lose, you know, any flare you've already developed here. Unless you air layer it, you know, quite shallow, which is possible. But I think I can do it just by pruning that whole root off. You know, once the roots on this side build up a bit of strength. Yeah, I can just keep working on the root base, and as the tree grows larger, you know, this bulbous section will appear to be smaller. It'll just sort of blend in someday. Yeah, so I'll just keep working on it, and we'll see if we can get a nice tree out of it in the future. The next tree we're looking at is my Ficus microcarpa cutting of a cutting. It's a cutting off my very first bonsai tree, the one that's actually growing in behind it, the one I grew from a seed. And in the summer, I leaf pruned it and branch pruned it, you know, cleaning up the structure. And now it's all filling back in again and looking quite good. The moss is getting really tall on it, so that'll need pruning. The upper canopy is getting quite thick, so I'll need to do some shoot selection and pruning back the more vigorous shoots. So there'll be some work coming up on this tree soon. I'll rotate the tree around so you can see it from all angles. Side view, the back view, the other side, and back to the present front. I'll keep the updates going, but I won't bring the trees out on the bench here. I'll have to show you them on the shelves, because there's a lot of trees around them and I don't want to move everything to get them out. So yeah, there's some of the larger trees. So let's go have a look at those now. Up on these shelves up here, I've got my Ficus Religiosa that's coming back into leaf quite nicely. I defoliated it, hard pruned it back, and you can see it growing in quite strongly now. Looking quite good. Happy with the structure and everything on the tree, so yeah, doing well. So that's my Ficus Religiosa, my large one. Here's my Ficus Benjamina root over temple. And I took some, I kind of gambled this summer. I did some really hard pruning on it. And I said it'll either kill the tree or I'll get a lot of sprouts coming out from it. And so the tree isn't dead. It's doing well. If you look down at the base here, right in here, you know, right in here, you can see all the shoots coming out. It's just a mass of new shoots. They're coming all out all over the trunks here. There are some areas that have died back. If I come over here, you can see this is a living branch on this trunk line. And this whole top here, that part died back. So that's just dead wood now. And also on this branch, there's a living branch here, and this other branch here died back. But there's new, you know, shoots coming down here. They're coming down at the base down here. So there's plenty of shoots. The tree is not going to die. In fact, it'll probably look even better in the future as it continues to grow. There's that giant root that's growing through the temple, cracking it in half and splitting it all apart. Yeah, I'll be putting it in a lighter pot. Right now, it's in this concrete pot, and it's really heavy. It's extremely hard to move this planting, and I dread moving it every time. And I think I can fit it in one of those large kind of mica pots, and it'll be much lighter, and I can move it a little easier without worrying about chipping the corners. If you bang this concrete pot on a anything, it'll chip the concrete. So you have to be really careful with the concrete pots. Whereas the mica pots, you can bang it against doorways, or as you're putting it in the car, you can hit it on the tailgate or whatever, and you don't have to worry about breaking the pot or scratching it or anything like that. The mica pots are really tough. So yeah, I think this will go in a mica pot, and my goal is to someday make this look like an ancient temple that's been lost in the jungle. So I want you to look in kind of through a forest and kind of see the temple in amongst the jungle. So we'll get it there someday. We'll just keep working away at it. My carpa oak trees in the background, I did some hard pruning to them, and I think they got a little cold because some of them died. I think this front one's dead. Maybe that one. Most of them are alive, but there's a few that have died, so I'm kind of getting down in numbers of my kapok or carpa oak trees. But we'll see. I'm sure they'll be coming back to life soon after their period of dormancy, the cold fall weather. So over here in the corner by the door here, these are all seedlings from Todd's Tropicals. You should check out his YouTube channel. It's really interesting. I'll put a link to it in the description below. So first I'll start off, there's a Bullhorn Acacia here, and it's really nice leaves. They're almost like ferns. The little individual leaves grow really closely together. They darken up as they get older. And here's why they're called Bullhorn Acacias. If you look at, it's almost got like two horns that come out there. So those are the bullhorns. And you can see them on down below here too. There's another set of bullhorns right there. So those are the Bullhorn Acacias. I think I just got one of them germinate, and it's doing really well. I have another tree beside it, which Bonsai Jay told me what it is, but I can't remember what it is now. But it's growing really well. You can see it's growing really tall. So I'm not sure what that is. I'm sure I'll find out. Over here, these are the monkey ear trees. You can see actually one of the seedlings down here, or one of the seed pods, and it looks like a monkey's ear. So I got two of those to germinate, and they're both doing really well. So you can see them there. And these leaves all fold up at night. I'm getting quite a collection of trees that have leaves that fold up at night, and I really like that. Mimosas fold up at night, acacias, monkey pod or monkey ear trees. What else? My princess earrings fold up at night. I'm sure I have others here somewhere that fold up at night, and yeah, I really like those. It's kind of changes its appearance every day. Here is, I think these are coral beans. I've got one of those growing. These are those, what were they now? Were they ebonies or something? They don't look like they're doing so well. There's another one in the corner here. They were growing really well in the summer, but I think it's too humid in here and not enough light, and I don't think they'll survive, but we'll see. There is a seed in here that I got from the bonsai guy, Chris Hendry. That's here. This is a coastal redwood that was started from a seed. And I think that's about it for that tray. Yeah. I have one last update for today, and that's my lemon tree that's kind of growing in a semi-cascade style. It's been a while since I've showed you this tree. I think the last video I was sorting out the branch structure, and it's grown in really nicely since then. The trunk is starting to, this was a root. It had this really ugly Y-shaped root on it, so I pruned off the one section of the Y-shaped root here, and I put the other in the soil, and I'm kind of growing this as the trunk line. And it's starting to blend in now. in both size and texture and everything. So I think, you know, this trunk line will be successful in the future. It is at the point where it needs more branch pruning on it now. You can see there's a lot of vertical growth coming up here. There's still some nice branches, but there's a lot of ones that don't need to be here and should be removed. So a video on these lemon trees will be coming up. This was one of the donated lemon trees. Yeah, so a video will be coming up on the donated lemon trees in the future. That's all for today's show and tell video. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.